Hello guys, welcome to our channel. Today, we are diving into the exciting world of Isekai anime. If you're a fan of this genre, then you're in for a treat. We've selected the top 30 latest Isekai anime with best plot and overpowered main character that every fan must watch. Also comment down how many anime did you watch and subscribe to our channel for more anime videos. Wise Man's Grandchild. A young salaryman who worked for a science textbook publisher died in a truck accident and reborn into another world filled with magic and demons with his memories intact. As a baby, he was picked and raised by the patriot hero Merlin Wolford. Like his grandfather, Shin can cast magic without verbal or somatic components, since he considers aloud spell names embarrassing, and has created many unique spells like the Gate and extra-dimensional storage spaces. Shin can also create and modify magical gear to what can be considered national treasure-level equipment. However, after witnessing Shin's immense powers, Daziem, king of the Earlshide Kingdom, recommends Shin to attend his magic academy, on the agreement of not using Shin powers for political warfare. In the capital, Shin rescues Maria and Sicilian from thugs, and later he would inaugurate a club that consists of him and other students. The reincarnation of the strongest exorcist in another world. The strongest exorcist in the world is murdered by jealous members of the imperial court due to his incredible power, but he casts a spell of rebirth on himself to have a second chance at a better life. He awakens in an alternate world as Saika, son of the noble Blaze Lamprogue, but cannot use this world's form of magic. Saika has retained his exorcist powers and demon servants, but hides this from his family as he hopes to cultivate a happier life by becoming more cunning than his previous life. However, his new family largely ignores him due to his lineage and magic deficiency, but the unbothered Saika leverages the knowledge from his previous life to make numerous valuable allies. As he begins to explore the true limits of his abilities, Saika must also be wary of the consequences that tarnished his past and avoid repeating the same mistakes. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in a different world as an aristocrat. The world's greatest assassin, sworn lifelong allegiance to the organization that raised him. However, despite his loyalty, that very same organization takes action to silence him. Drowning in frustration and regrets he can no longer suppress, he finds himself in an audience with a goddess attracted by his exceptional skills. The goddess offers him reincarnation into a magnificent world of swords and magic, so he can perform a crucial mission, prevent that world's destruction by slaying its hero. Accepting the goddess' request, he is reborn as Luff Tuatha, the son of a noble family of assassins serving the Elven Kingdom. Under the guidance of his father, Luff learns new assassination techniques that significantly differ from his previous life. Furthermore, his other talents bloom, allowing him to meet new allies and acquaintances. Even so, Luff knows that his efforts are far from adequate, because a monumental adversary such as the hero can only be defeated with perfection. Parallel World Pharmacy. World-class medical researcher Kanji Yakutani lost his little sister due to ineffective treatment. To honor her legacy, he has dedicated his research to developing new medications. But as fate would have it, he overworks himself and passes away at the age of 31, only to be given a second chance in another world. When he wakes up, Kanji finds himself in the body of a 10-year-old boy named Falma, the son of an esteemed family of medical practitioners. Bearing the mark of a deity's divine blessing, Falma is capable of performing a unique divine art, allowing him to create and reduce any substance with the knowledge of its chemical properties. After reading through some pharmacology books, Falma realizes that this world is operating on similar medical practices as in ancient times. He also learns that medicine is an exclusive privilege to the nobility, depriving commoners of proper medical care. Using the knowledge from his past life and the divine abilities granted to him, Falma resolves to make medicine available to those who need it. Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. Ichiro Suzuki is a 29-year-old game programmer who is tasked with fixing several bugs in a virtual reality MMORPG called Infinity Game. However, he becomes extremely worn out as he is working during the weekend. After taking a nap, he mysteriously wakes up in a parallel world as 15-year-old character named Satu. Before he can grasp his current situation, an army of lizardmen ambushes him and launches an all-out attack on him. In desperation, he uses all three of his special Meteor Rain attack options at once and wipes them all out, accidentally killing a god as well. As a result, his level jumps from 1 to 310, maximizing his stats immensely and making him one of the most powerful person in the world. With no way to return to his world, and as a high-leveled adventurer armed with different physical, magical abilities and weapons, he sets out to uncover the secrets of this new world, earning the trust and affection of many people in the process while keeping his overpowered stats concealed. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. The story centers around an unnamed 34-year-old Japanese man who leads a miserable and unproductive life. However, his life takes a dramatic turn when he dies in a truck accident and is reborn in a fantasy world as a baby, retaining all of his memories and intellect from his previous life. In his new life, Rudius resolves to make the most of his second chance and decides to become the best he can be. He is raised by a loving and skilled swordsman named Paul and a kind-hearted maid named Zenith. Rudius not only excels in his magical and combat training but also becomes a talented mage. As Rudius grows up, he embarks on adventures, forms friendships, and explores the vast and magical world he now inhabits. He faces various challenges, confronts his past weaknesses, and strives to become a better person. Throughout his journey, he encounters a wide range of characters, including other adventurers and fellow reincarnated individuals. My Isekai life, I gained a second character class and became the strongest sage in the world. After working himself to death in a hostile corporate environment, Yuji Sano gets a second chance when he transmigrates to a game-like fantasy world far removed from paperwork and computers. Although he wishes to lead an unassuming life, Yuji learns that he has the title of a monster tamer, the weakest rank of adventurer. With his newfound skills, he tames a number of slimes around him, and with their help, he quickly acquires magical powers to become a sage, a second character class in the blink of an eye. Even after gaining overwhelming strength, the scars from the life Yuji left behind keep him from going all out. However, he might not be able to hide his abilities for much longer, as unforeseen dangers threaten to destroy the world that is now his only home. Black Summoner. To prepare for reincarnation in another world, Kelvin gives up select memories from his previous life in exchange for powerful abilities, additional skill points, and an S-class summoner title. As a bonus, the goddess facilitating his rebirth, Melfina, offers him a choice of any companion to give him a head start in his summoner role. Kelvin, who has fallen head over heels for Melfina at first sight, promptly chooses the deity, confident that his passionate feelings for her will resurface even without all of his memories. Kelvin embarks on his exciting new journey with Melfina as his guide. However, in order to summon his beloved goddess' physical form, he needs to acquire significant amounts of mana points, and the best way to accomplish this is to level up by fighting strong enemies and making contracts with even stronger companions. Problem children are coming from another world, aren't they? The story revolves around Izayui Sakamaki, Asuka Kudu, and Yukasakabe, are extraordinary teenagers who are blessed with extraordinary abilities but completely fed up with their everyday boring lives, until, unexpectedly, each of them receives a strange envelope containing an invitation to a mysterious place known as Little Garden. Inexplicably dropped into a vast new world, the trio is greeted by Kurosagi, who explains that they have been given a once-in-a-lifetime chance to participate in special high-stakes games using their abilities. In order to take part in the games, they must first join a community. Learning that Kurosagi's community has lost its official status and bountiful land, due to their defeat at the hands of a demon lord, the group sets off to help reclaim their new home's dignity, eager to protect its residents and explore the excitement that Little Garden has to offer. ReZero starting life in another world. The story follows Saburo Natsuki, who suddenly finds himself transported to another world while on his way home from a convenience store. Just after arriving, he is attacked by some thugs. Armed with only a bag of groceries and a useless cell phone, he is quickly beaten to a pulp. Fortunately, a mysterious beauty named Emilia saves him from the thugs. In order to thank the honest and kind-hearted girl, Saburo offers to help her in search of insignia. Just after locating the insignia, Subaru and Emilia are brutally murdered. After dying, Saburo realizes that he has the power to turn back time after his death. After successfully helping Emilia, Subaru starts living in one of the mansions as a butler. Out of gratitude and affection for Emilia, Subaru makes use of his newfound ability to protect her and help on her ambition to be successfully appointed as the next queen, also providing assistance to other friends he makes along the way, while suffering due to the pain inflicted on him every time he dies, and carrying the memories of everything that happened before. which is forgotten by everybody except for him. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, often abbreviated as Slime Isekai, is a popular Japanese light novel series written by Fuse and illustrated by Mitzvah. It falls under the Isekai genre, which involves characters being transported from their normal world to a fantasy or parallel world. The story follows Satoru Mikami, an ordinary 37-year-old office worker who is unexpectedly killed in a random stabbing incident. However, he finds himself reincarnated in a fantasy world as a slime, a low-level monster known for its typically weak and gelatinous nature. Despite this, Satoru gains unique abilities in his new form that allow him to analyze and mimic other creatures' abilities, as well as a form of shapeshifting. Embracing his new life as a slime, Satoru adopts the name Rimuru Tempest and begins to explore the world he's been reborn into. He quickly befriends various creatures, including powerful monsters, spirits, and humans, as he aims to create a safe and peaceful community where different species can coexist harmoniously. Overlord is a Japanese light novel series written by Kogane Maruyama. It is also a popular anime adaptation and has gained a significant following in the fantasy and isekai genres. The story centers around the game Yggdrasil, which is known for its complexity and depth. The game is about to be shut down after running for many years, and the protagonist, Momonga, a powerful and enigmatic undead character, is the last player logged in as the servers are about to go offline. As the clock strikes midnight and the game servers are supposed to shut down, something unexpected happens. The game world doesn't disappear, and the NPCs begin to display lifelike behaviors and personalities. Seizing this opportunity, Momonga takes on the new name of his in-game character, Ain Zulgaon, and decides to explore this unfamiliar world. He discovers that the NPCs of his guild's base, the Great Tomb of Nazarick, have come to life with distinct personalities. Ains, now an immensely powerful undead overlord, sets out to learn more about this new reality, assert his dominance, and uncover the mysteries behind this world's transformation. The Eminence in Shadow is a Japanese light novel series written by Daisuke Aizawa and illustrated by Tensei. The Eminence in Shadow is known for its unique take on the isekai genre. Instead of the protagonist being transported to another world, Sid Kajinu remains in his own world but aspires to recreate the secretive and powerful roles he admires in his favorite fictional work. The story follows Sid Kajinu, a young man who is a huge fan of stories featuring secret organizations, spies, and shadowy figures. He becomes disappointed with his own ordinary life and decides to become a shadow master, someone who operates behind the scenes to manipulate events and control the world from the shadows, just like the characters in his favorite stories. Despite lacking any actual abilities, Sid starts orchestrating events and recruiting a group of friends to help him achieve his goal of becoming the ultimate shadow master, using his knowledge of fictional spy tactics and secret agent techniques. The Fruit of Evolution, Before I Knew It, My Life Had It Made is a Japanese light novel series written by Hoda and illustrated by Hoka Kazabana. The story revolves around Kanami, a young man who finds himself reincarnated in a fantasy world after his death. Upon his reincarnation, Kanami discovers that he has been reborn as a lowly goblin. Goblins in this world are typically seen as weak and expendable creatures, often hunted by adventurers for experience and loot. However, Kanami's situation takes an unexpected twist when he consumes a mysterious and powerful fruit that grants him significant evolutionary abilities. Using the abilities granted by the fruit, Kanami rapidly evolves and transforms from a simple goblin into a formidable and unique creature. He gains incredible strength, intelligence, and magical abilities, becoming far more powerful than the average denizen of the fantasy world. The Rising of the Shield Hero is a Japanese light novel series written by Aniko Usagi. The story follows Naofumi Iwatani, a young man who is summoned to a parallel world along with 3 other individuals. Each of them is chosen to embody one of the 4 legendary heroes, equipped with a weapon representing their role: sword, spear, bow, and shield. Naofumi finds himself designated as the Shield Hero, a role he initially considers underpowered compared to the other heroes. His early optimism is shattered when he is falsely accused of a crime and betrayed by a fellow companion, leading to his isolation and distrust of others. Without traditional offensive abilities, Naofumi must rely on his shield's defensive capabilities to survive and grow stronger. As the story progresses, Naofumi learns to adapt and maximize the unique abilities of the shield, discovering that it has hidden potential that goes beyond defense. He forms unlikely alliances with demi-human characters who have faced discrimination, and together, they rise against powerful adversaries and unravel the mysteries of the world they've been summoned to. Ari Furita, From Commonplace to World's Strongest is a Japanese light novel series written by Ryo Shirakomi. The story revolves around Hajime Nagumo, an ordinary high school student who, along with his classmates, is transported to a fantasy world with the goal of becoming heroes and saving the world. However, unlike his classmates who possess impressive magical abilities and talents, Hajime is initially considered weak and only possesses transmutation magic, which allows him to manipulate the properties of objects. During a perilous dungeon expedition, Hajime is betrayed by one of his classmates and falls into the depths of the dungeon, suffering near-fatal injuries. Through sheer determination and resourcefulness, he manages to survive and overcome numerous challenges. Using his transmutation magic, he crafts powerful weapons and equipment from the dungeon's materials, gradually evolving into a formidable warrior. After escaping dungeon, he embarks on a journey of revenge and self-discovery, ultimately seeking to return to his original world. Along the way, he encounters various allies and adversaries, each with their own motivations and secrets. Knights and Magic is a Japanese light novel series written by Hisago Amazakeno and illustrated by Kurajin. The story follows Ernesti Echeverria, a young boy who dies in a car accident in his own world and is then reborn in a fantasy world called Herald. In this new world, magic and medieval-style warfare using giant robots known as silhouette knights are prevalent. Ernesti, now known as Eru, retains his memories and passion for mecha and robotics from his previous life. He quickly becomes enamored with the idea of creating and piloting his own silhouette knight, which he sees as the perfect fusion of his two interests, magic and mecha. With his knowledge of advanced technology from his previous world, Eru seeks to revolutionize the silhouette knight design and enhance their performance. Driven by his enthusiasm and talent, Eru becomes a prodigious magic user and a skilled engineer, incorporating modern engineering concepts into the creation of his silhouette knight. He gathers a group of friends and allies who share his vision, and together, they embark on a journey to reshape the world of Herald by introducing new technological advancements. Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious is a Japanese light novel series written by Light Tsuchihai and illustrated by Saori Toyota. The story centers around Seiya Ryagwin, a hero who is summoned to a fantasy world to save it from a looming threat. However, Seiya is not your typical hero. He is excessively cautious to an extreme degree. Seiya's cautious nature leads him to train obsessively and prepare exhaustively for every possible scenario, no matter how unlikely. He refuses to engage in any battle or situation unless he is absolutely certain of victory, even if it means going to extreme lengths to ensure his safety. This often results in comedic and over-the-top moments, as Seiya takes even the smallest risks seriously and approaches every challenge with meticulous planning. Despite his extreme caution, Seiya's thorough preparations and incredible power make him an overwhelmingly strong hero. He quickly becomes adept at defeating powerful enemies with ease, often using his over-the-top caution to outwit his opponents. Throughout the story, Seiya's interactions with other characters, who are often baffled or frustrated by his overly cautious behavior, lead to humorous situations and unexpected outcomes. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is a Japanese light novel series written by Yukiya Murasaki and illustrated by Takahiro Tsurasaki. The story revolves around Takuma Sakamoto, a socially awkward gamer who gets transported into the world of his favorite video game, Cross Reverie, in the body of his in-game character, Diablo. In the fantasy world, Takuma finds himself possessing immense magical power and the appearance of a powerful demon lord. However, due to his real-life social anxiety, he struggles to communicate and interact with others. This becomes particularly challenging when two girls, a summoner named Rem and a Pantherian named Shara, accidentally use a spell that was supposed to enslave him, but instead, they find themselves magically bound to him. As the overpowered demon lord Diablo, Takuma must navigate his new reality, pretending to be the character he played in the game while dealing with the personalities and intentions of Rem and Shara. Despite his inexperience with social situations, he tries to act confident and assertive, leading to comedic misunderstandings and awkward interactions. In Another World with My Smartphone is a Japanese light novel series written by Patora Fuohara and illustrated by Eiji Yuzutsuka. The story revolves around Tuya Mochizuki, a teenage boy who dies accidentally and is reincarnated into a fantasy world. However, due to a divine mistake, he's allowed to take his smartphone with him to the new world. In this fantasy realm, Tuya discovers that he possesses a unique advantage, his smartphone, which works perfectly in the new world. With access to advanced technology, information, and communication, Tuya quickly becomes a prodigious magic user and an influential figure in the world. He uses his smartphone to learn languages, access maps, and even create new magical spells. Tuya's journey involves exploring the new world, meeting various characters, and becoming involved in political and magical conflicts. His smartphone helps him form alliances, communicate across vast distances, and gather information efficiently. With his immense magical power and the knowledge from his previous life, he solves problems and helps others in need. Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill is a light novel series written by Riniguchi and illustrated by Masa. It falls under the Isekai genre, which involves characters being transported from their ordinary lives to fantasy worlds. Our story begins when a group of 4 Japanese citizens, consisting of 3 high school students and 1 adult, are magically summoned to a parallel fantasy world by the kingdom of ReZero, who asks them for help in their war against the demon folk. As a result of the summoning ritual, the 3 students appear to have several powerful magical abilities and are accepted as heroes. However, the adult, an ordinary salaryman named Tsuyoshi Mukuda, is found to only have the power of online supermarket. Unwilling to become a hero and also suspicious of the kingdom's true intentions, he convinces the nobles his ability is useless, allowing him to leave and pursue a simple life in the new world. After experimenting with his online supermarket skill, he discovers he is able to instantly order food and other products from Japan. During his travels, he meets a legendary beast known as a Fenrir, who demands Mukuda feed him a meal. After numerous servings, the Fenrir, eventually named Fel, takes a liking to Mukuda's cooking and forces him to accept a familiar contract. As Mukuda continues his journey, he encounters other monsters, as well as gods from the divine realm, who grant him familiar contracts and blessings in order to obtain his food and other worldly goods. Farming Life in Another World is a Japanese light novel series written by Kinosuke Nato and illustrated by Yasumo. The story follows around Hiraku, who dies by purely accident, due to a god not giving him good luck, so he reincarnated him in another world as an apology, and also grant him a powerful new body and the magic omnipotent farming tool, which can summon any farming tool he requires and can be used without growing tired. Awakening in a forest far from civilization, Hiraku selects the largest tree as the site for his farm and with the tool is able to construct a well, build a camp and dig his first field. To his amazement, the tool causes crops to begin sprouting without planting seeds first. While starting out on his own first, later Hiraku ends up befriending wolves he named Kuro and Yuki, and the demon spider he named Zabuton, and even accepting humanoid species into his settlement. This new life for Hiraku ends up becoming quite odd, slowly building a community and village of differing species, with him serving as their mayor. Hiraku ends up with a harem with at least 7 wives and children, though some of the elves have children with him solely for continuing their bloodline. The Aristocrat's Otherworldly Adventure, Serving Gods Who Go Too Far is a Japanese light novel series written by Yashu, a Japanese teenager named Shinya Kanzuya who was killed by a thug and reincarnated in another world as the son of a lord in the Esfort Kingdom. Blessed with the power of all 7 gods, Kane quickly grows far stronger than any other human, using the power at his disposal to protect the innocents and punish evildoers, which soon brings the attention of the king, who arranges him to be engaged with his daughter, Telestia, and her close friend Silk. This goes against Kane's wishes, as he loathes noble etiquette. Through the course of the series, Kane grows stronger while earning titles and achievements, with other girls also becoming engaged with him. He prepares himself to fight an evil god who was sealed away for causing much needless suffering in the mortal world for his own amusement. Originally sealed away, he is slowly regaining his strength to seek revenge against the gods and continue his death games on the mortals, which makes him Kane's arch-nemesis. He is also responsible for the death of Kane's Earth parents, having been summoned to the same world but killed while sealing away the evil god. Summoned to another world for a second time. Setsu, his childhood friend Yui, and their high school classmates are summoned to another world as heroes of Destinia Kingdom, at war with the demons after 5 years of peace. This does not surprise Setsu, as he was summoned to Destinia before as the previous hero who successfully ended the last war before being abruptly returned to Japan to restart his life as a baby. While his classmates train as beginners, Setsu has regained his old powers and reveals his identity to his former teammate, now a knight, Elka, by spanking her, revealing her secret masochistic attraction to him. He also meets former teammates Glenn and Thea, who reveal Setsu had disappeared in an explosion while dueling a man named Toma, ending the war. Setsu suspects Toma has restarted the war by manipulating the demons with curse magic. Setsu decides not to reveal his identity publicly and will prevent the war by going out on his own to find Toma, leaving his teammates to train his classmates. After stealing his old sword Kuramaru from Destinia's armory, Yuhi asks to accompany him, but he tells her to stay and train for when he returns. I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too. The story follows around Yuya Tenjo, who's an overweight, short and meek middle school student who was bullied at school and tormented by his family, except for his grandfather, who is the only person who cares for him. When his grandfather dies and leaves Yuya as the sole heir of his house, his parents expel him from home, and he is forced to live there alone. Inside his grandfather's house, Yuya discovers a portal to another world. After killing powerful monsters in another world using the weapons he found in the house, Yuya grows stronger, taller and handsome, and obtains special powers by defeating enemies like in a video game. Because his previous isolation made him a loner and shut in, he is both very self-conscious about his improvements and quite ignorant of the effects especially his new, improved looks and charisma have on his environment. He travels back and forth between both worlds, using his newly obtained skills to improve himself, gaining a lot of notoriety and making friends and enemies along the way. By the grace of the gods. The story follows the protagonist, Ryoma Takebayashi, a middle-aged man who led a life filled with hardships. After his death, he is reincarnated into a fantasy world. Due to his diligent and kind behavior, Ryoma earns the grace of 3 gods who bless him with various skills and abilities. Ryoma lives in a forest for 3 years while polishing his skills and taming hundreds of slimes, making use of their multiple abilities in various tasks from combat and hunting to cleaning and crafting, until meeting the Jamil family, who are amazed by seeing Ryoma monster taming abilities and warmly welcomes him among them. Determined to live independently, he refuses to overindulge on their hospitality and looks for ways to make ends meet by himself. As he interacts with the local community and adventurers, his abilities prove valuable in unexpected ways. Handyman Saito in Another World is a Japanese fantasy series by Kazutomo Ikitomo. Saito, a young handyman from Japan, had been feeling unappreciated in his job, despite his skills. Rejected over getting unfairly fired, he accidentally walked in front of a speeding truck and was subsequently displaced into a fantasy world, where he was taken in by an adventuring party. With the party members' personal quirks hindering their performance, Saito begins lending them a helping hand, carrying essentials, picking locks and giving them vital reminders, thus making him indispensable to his new friends. But Saito is more capable than he realizes. Professionally skilled in appraising and repairing items and picking locks, he becomes the effective thief of his adventuring party. Kamikatsu, working for God in a godless world. After being thrown by his father and his cult off a cliff into the sea, as part of a ritual, he initially believed he died and was reincarnated in an Isekai world, until he realized that he was still alive and was instead transported into a post-apocalyptic world in distant future where gods do not exist. Later, Yukito witnesses a public mass suicide and learns without religion there is no fear of death. When the government decides citizens are no longer of use, they proudly commit suicide. Alara and the villagers are all deviants who refused suicide due to fearing death. Alara and Salurul disappear and Yukito learns outcasts can be executed at any time. While attempting to rescue Alara, both she and Yukito are killed. Dying again, Yukito prays to Matama, who manifests as a young girl, having been impatiently waiting for him to summon her as the next cult leader. Matama murders the government soldiers and resurrects Yukito and Alara. As there is a chance the government will send an army to their village again, Yukito needs to somehow get 10,000 people to worship Matama and make her a powerful god again. My one-hit kill sister. As story follows, and high school student Asahi Akosaba, a RPG video game otaku who has always dreamed of adventuring in another world, gets his wish when he is rendered comatose after getting hit by a car while saving a child. After suddenly finding himself in a fantasy world, he pursues his desire to become an adventurer, but finds himself outmatched by high-level monsters he stumbles across on his very first quest. Suddenly, his overprotective older sister Maya appears and saves his life. Partnering up with him, the two begin to make their way in this new world, even though Asahi comes to fear his sister's overbearing affection for him more than the various dangers this world has to offer. Despite Maya doing all the work, Asahi ends up being hailed as the hero.